Hi there, and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to continue Volume 19, Episode 7 of my Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks scrapbooks. And we're also continuing with Part 3 of my having met Stevie Nicks at the Ameoba Records signing, Hollywood, California, on August 3rd, 2011. So if you watch my other two prior videos, this is probably the best part, really, where I just really get into, well, I've already met her. And I talked about that and just how completely dumbfounded I was. And now I'm waiting afterwards because she did agree that if I waited until everything was done, that she would take a photo with me. And now I'm left standing there thinking, oh my God, maybe she was just like, sure, lady, whatever it takes to get you the hell out of the line. And I don't know what to do. So I'm going to read a little bit more, but trust me, we have plenty of pictures and we'll get into it. I will wrap this up today, I promise. So again, going from the journals, let's see, the line is going slowly. We thought it was a wonderful thing to have been first. We just thought Stevie's going to be fresh. She's going to be fantastic and spry and happy and excited to be there. And that likely by the end of the visit, she's going to be like ticked off and not really, you know what I mean? But it's Stevie and she really doesn't do these things too often. And again, as my notes say, the line is going slowly. We thought what a wonderful thing to be first. So Stevie's all refreshed and enjoying herself. We thought surely by the end of the evening she'd be kind of frosty, probably in pain from signing and a little bit eager to go. Alas, just the opposite was taking place. She was taking up to 10 minutes or more with some people. One guy in particular got the wrath of Stevie for continuing to smoke. Thank God I didn't bring that up. His friend had been in line quite a bit earlier and had told Stevie that he would consider stopping if Stevie told him to do so. Okay, my other friends also asked for Stevie's blessing that I'd mentioned. Doug and Brian had asked for Stevie's blessing to be married and stuff. So that was, like I said, that's their own little story, not my place to tell it, but it was really sweet. Everybody just had their moment. Everybody just had a very, how could you not? You know, it's a thoughtful moment. It's a celebrity. I've met a lot of people, and I don't say that in like some hoity-toity way. I think I've told you that I work Comic Cons. I've met a lot of other artists that I appreciate and such, and but it's Stevie Nicks, and there's just something so ethereal and so down to earth and real about her that it's an entirely different experience. I imagine the same could probably be said with like Florence from Florence and the Machine, Tori Amos. So there's just a certain few that I imagine that it would just be that cool and collected and kind. I think that's really the biggest word that I have is kind. And she's there because she's agreed to be there and sign stuff. But I've also dealt with a lot of other people who have agreed to be there and sign stuff and were not so kind. So it just really is a phenomenal thing, to have taken place where she was exactly like, everybody expects that she would be. And at the end, I was just kind of like, again, a little bit jealous, a little bit like, well, shit, maybe I should have waited until the end. But because I could have taken any place in line. I was first. If I wanted to wait all the way till the back, I could have done so. And probably could have got stuff signed because she was signing a lot of other stuff. Like she was signing 2 and 3 things for people by the end. And it was just kind of like, but I'm not mad at them. I'm just kind of like, well, what gives, but here, I'm still hoping for the best that, I'll get my wish. So I'm certainly not going to be mad at them. Right. He let the guy who asked, whose friend had said he quit smoking if Stevie told him to, he said something to her and he let the line all flutter. He was crying. He was very dramatic, and I'm not picking on him at anything, but I don't know. I guess just of all the things you could ask Stevie, that's why I say dramatic, because it just seemed like really, you do what you do for yourself. You know what I mean? Not because somebody else tells you to. And I don't know. I guess I just wouldn't want Stevie to tell me something. I'd want to do it on the betterment of myself. And then maybe tell Stevie, hey, I was a smoker and I've come here and it's been 10 years, and have her be like, oh my God, that's great. Instead of being like, what she really did. She gave him an earful. So, I'm not, and I put here, just like I told you guys, I'm not even playing the jealousy card. I'm just saying, if you have an opportunity to shine with your idol, that was an odd choice. But that's how you want to spend it. That was your time. I can think of no worse fate than being reprimanded by Stevie Nicks. So I would not have wanted to get an earful if I told her I too am a smoker. And I said, hell, I freeze when she gives me the look of death at my flash going off. And remember, I told you when I was at the Wiltern for the stormy weather benefit, when I reached for her hand and she just kind of looked at me, I'm like, oh God, no. I mean, I just felt like this big instantly. So my friend is also just kind of, he's also taking it in. We're all taking it in our own way. And it's kind of bad. It's kind of like, what Minions, I mean, that's a perfect example, because we're all kind of just running around, just We don't know what to do. We've just had this moment. We probably should just get in our car and leave. That would probably be the most sane thing to do, and like go have a coffee, have a drink, whatever your thing is, and just bring it down a notch. Well, most of us are just kind of running around still, asking each other questions. What should we do? This is kind of funny. And of course, poor Stevie is waiting for me. And finally, I tell him what I asked her, and he was. I'm never going to pick on him. I love him dearly, and I'm so glad we shared this moment. But I don't know what else to say. Not amused, maybe is. I just don't know. And I was going to ask and be like, what do you want me to say? What do because I'm telling you, it's no disrespect to my friend. We really haven't really spoken much since this actually, and I've kind of had him back in my life, and that really means a lot to me. But because all of a sudden now he wishes he had said that. I mean, he said so many words. And it's like, dude, just like everybody, this is your time. You decided what you wanted to ask her. That was what came to you, and that's what decided. And honestly, what if I had gotten jilted? I completely wasted my time just saying, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" I mean, which is a little bit selfish. I mean, Jesus, I just met her and I got a signature, but we're kind of in the day and age where it's a picture. Actually, most people seemingly don't get autographs much anymore. People just really want selfies, or they want, and so it's kind of like, well, why didn't I ask this? Because he said something right along the words, why didn't I think of that? And I'm like, just don't worry about it. Don't, and it kind of progressed a little bit like that where, let's see. Oh, and then he was kind of like, did you see, he and I were both kind of fuming a little bit because, he's like, did you see that she's signing other things? And we're like, I'm just like, we have to be cool. We have to keep a cool, our heads about us and keep a positive, outlook and such on it. And revel, we just had this moment, revel in that, not what other people are getting more than us or whatever, we had our moment. So like maybe 197 people, I put this down just again kind of jokingly in my journal, are having their moment. And Stevie turns to Karen, who then goes to the Ameoba staff, and she walks right by me. And I kind of like lurch out, like not really, but kind of like, kind of thing. And I'm freaking out. And then I hear a lady say Portland. And I guess she had called the Aussie couple Australia and me Portland. It was kind of funny. So she called two people out, and it's like, figure it out or go home. So she called Portland and Australia, and it's like, that's us, that's me, that's it, And I guess their situation was this lovely couple, and that was the other picture I had, this wonderful, adorable couple, which I'm super bummed I never stayed in touch with. If you're out there or know who these people are, please put me in touch with them. They're just divine, wonderful people. They had come from Australia to the States. They had heard about this, but, just was like, it was kind of like as they're going, like they were coming to the States anyway, heard about this, and they're like, holy hell, like what an opportunity. And it happened so quickly. They didn't even have time to like put their luggage somewhere, go to the hotel, nothing. They came from the airport straight to this thing to get in the line and have an opportunity. And they were like, they were joking. I think I put it in here, how they said it. How did they put it? I stand there making small talk with a couple from Australia, and I couldn't remember if they were friends, siblings, or what. I'm not sure, because I thought I had heard the male state that his wife was wandering around somewhere out in the store. They claimed that they had heard about this and made arrangements already to come to the U.S., but again, this was just a bonus. The guy told me that he was a bit more brisk with Stevie. He said that although he was joking, it was like, listen, lady, when you come to Australia, which is very seldom, it's private planes and private cars from the basement of hotels. I can't wait in an airport or lobby, so what's a guy got to do to get a photo with you? Which she found funny. Stevie told him to relax, and then she would take a photo with him and the other lady after the event. He said he was joking, but it really just gets frustrating being a fan for so long and not having nearly as many opportunities as people in the States do. They were very nice, and I don't feel that they made this trip just to meet Stevie, but it was definitely a win-win for them. They were coming anyway and tagged this on, but who was I to wonder or care about that? I'm just so happy they got to meet her. Either way they were here, they said they didn't even get their luggage. Oh, I guess they didn't get their luggage at all. Since there was no buying or getting a spot saved, it was off the plane and haul ass over here, hopefully to secure a spot between 1 and 200. And I put in my notes, I thought I was devoted. We were ushered a few feet to the door, and Stevie had come through at the beginning. I'd say I was about number 10-ish of just people, because there's just the couple from Australia and myself as fans who were allowed, but there was the staff and such like that from Amoeba. We heard her wrap things up just outside the door, and what few faithful remained pleaded with her to come and take photos and sign stuff. She was just doing that. She said that she couldn't and that her poor little hand had had enough. She thanked them all for coming and said she loved you too to those that professed their love, and made her way to where we were stationed. The Aussie guy, the guy from Australia, he and I were talking, and he told me to go ahead first. And then he said, ladies first. And besides, I'm easy. And I said, nuh-uh, I'm easy. And right at that moment, Stevie Nicks walks into the room. I make an oops face, complete with a hand in my mouth, a la Austin Powers or something like that, with a naughty smirk on my face. And Stevie Nicks looks right at me and says, you're not easy. Just like that, she walks into the room and right into the conversation. That brief ass moment and that one line made my millennium. Stevie Nicks interjecting in my conversation, what the hell? The rest, I have to say, is kind of blurry. She thanks us all for coming, and remarkable Karen and Marty aren't their typical a-hole selves, because they're nice and calm now. They're just being super casual and getting things together. Karen asks who's first, and I hand her my camera. Stevie and Karen then look for a good spot to take the picture. They decide that now that the door is closed in the room, that would be a good background and ought to work out. Stevie's ready to go. She's all smiles, waiting for Karen to take the picture. Hand on my shoulder, smiling. I have my arm around her back, and then I put my other hand in front of her, and I've got her in a hold, like in a hug. And I turn to her and say, like, is this okay? Or does this bother you? Or something stupid along those lines. She doesn't even acknowledge that I've spoken. And simultaneously, the voices are screaming in my head, Anita, shut the fuck up and savor this. Holy hell, you have Stevie Nicks in your arms. Just smile for the camera. Karen takes a picture and right away is like, well, maybe we should, insinuating another picture ought to be taken, when I, in my infinite wisdom, cut her off and say, no, this is okay, just fine. Typical, so typical of me. But on a positive note, no one interjects and escorts me out of the room after the picture is taken. Instead, I just move to the side, and then I watch the Aussie couple get a photo with Stevie, or a couple, I should say. And then she tells us again how nice it was that we came such a long way, and to take care and to get back to our respective places safely. Very gracious, taking our hands again. It was absolutely surreal. They lead Stevie out of the room, and we are all saying goodbye again, like of course we don't want it to end, and try to fathom that this happened at all. As soon as she's out of sight, the door opens again, and we are led out back through the store to the outside part of Ameoba. My friend is right outside the door, and I would have tried to get him in, and sincerely, and I told him this, like, listen, if an opportunity presents itself where you can just kind of lurch and be bold and just come with me, or I'm able to grab your hand and just like, let's go, that's going to be great. But I don't want to jeopardize. I don't want somebody to say like, hey, I don't know what would happen. I have no idea. And this, I imagine, is much like the opportunities that have happened to me prior. I mean, how many times I tell you, my friend Bill at the fair, he invited me to go. He's going to get these passes and stuff. And we were right there. And he probably could have turned and said, hey, she's with me. But he's not going to jeopardize his chance. It's not because he's a jerk or he doesn't love me. He loved me to death. And he super wanted me to meet Stevie Nicks. But somebody said, hey, Bill, come with me. He hadn't said, oh, hey, I have nothing like that. So I don't know. And I just don't know what would have happened. And I felt this big, but I don't want to lose my opportunity. It's what I waited for. And it's just a shitty predicament to be in. And he's right outside the door, and he's bummed. He's super blue, and I feel bad. And I'm just, again, trying to roll with the positive. And I'm like, hey, she just went outside the door. Do you want to go outside and try and find her? And he's like, no, she's probably left already. And why bother and stuff? And I'm like, honey, let's just go. So we're waiting out there, and let's see, we go to the back entrance, and it's like a ghost town. And I want to say that Steven said something along the lines of, yeah, she's gone. And I said, no, we're going to wait here. And sure enough, a car comes up and is cleaning out, and all this stuff is happening. But anyway, a car does come out, and we're way better, but we can't see her. But as it is, I'm going on 16 hours of no sleep. I apologize. I had about an hour and 20 minutes sleep? 16 hours after the drive. So in between that drive to sleep, but then up since the ticket to this time. So yeah, because we had to wait. So the line started at 7. So whatever time it is, it's about 16 hours. And I've still got to get in the car and drive back. I've got to take him back, which is about, like I said, about an 8-hour trip. And then from his house, leave back to my house, which is about another 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours, depending on how you drive and such. So that's kind of the bulk of that. I'm just going to stop it right there without any of the afterthoughts, because again, it's a little weird. But what I will say is that as we were driving over the Grapevine, which is kind of I don't know, people who were watching me who are from California, but it's a pass through the mountains and such like that. And reception is very spotty for cell phones and such. And when we got to Over the Grapevine, we stopped at Denny's or something like that to have some food and stuff. And my phone is just popping, 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 popping. And that is because I made the Channel 7 News. They actually did show my segment, and everybody, my friends and people who are on, the websites that I'm on and stuff like that. And I just felt like a little celebrity, a dead ass tired celebrity with a friend who's a little bit cheesed off at me. So it was just an awkward feeling. It was just it was kind of a silent drive home. And I left. I got my friend to his house, and he's like, I think I used the restroom or something like that. Thanked him for, coming with me and everything like that. And he's like, you should probably take a nap or something. I'm like, no, I'm out of here. Like, I'm just going to go. And I swear to God, I didn't get probably an hour out of town. And I just remember, how when off ramps go, on a main highway, on a major highway, they kind of have that long V, and you stay this way, you go on the highway, but you take this long V and you go off on an exit. My stupid ass pulled into that V on the road. I shit you not. Clearly out of the way. I mean, I totally could have gotten hit on the highway or on the off ramp, but it's so wide, because it's such a V like that. That's why I pulled off. Not off the exit. I pulled off there because I was dead, and I fell asleep for a solid 3.5, 4 hours. Out. Absolutely out. Like, sleep deprivation out. It was kind of spooky. And when I woke up, I'm kind of like, where am I? It's, it's a little dusk by this time and stuff like that. So it was freaking weird. And then woke up and just finished driving home. And yeah, so that would have been the 4th. So yeah, I probably had to work on the 5th. That sounds about right. Yeah. So because it had become the 4th. So I got to spend the rest of the time driving home. And yeah, I'm sure I had to work on the 5th. So that was that trip. That was the trip. So the fun part is, these are some pictures that I got. They're not great. As you can see, this one is kind of clear, but it's far away. So she's coming out and kind of posing for the paparazzi. Let's take this out. I'm sorry, I always forget this. I do the page and then I put it in here, and then I always forget. It's hard to see with the glare. And I didn't know what, like me and my stupid little themes, to do something for my pictures. And I didn't know what theme to be for this, but I kind of went with the amoeba sign and stuff like that. I don't know. It works. But let me tell you, how long ago was this? And I've only just gotten the scrapbook. You see how they're kind of blurry, kind of soft focus like. So not the greatest, but they're what I got. And then, like I said, when we got over to the other side to take pictures this way, which would be like this one and this one, because I'm more on this side, Marty would just kept getting in front of us. So it was really hard. And I thought when they said no photography, I just thought plainly with Stevie. Not, there's so much paparazzi, and this lady here, this young lady here, this beautiful lady here, she must have been there for an hour. Now, probably she was there with, Ameoba or something else, but there was people continuously taking photos the entire time that were definitely, they were plain clothes. I didn't see anything, on like a lanyard or something like that. I imagined that they were press or something like that, but there were people taking pictures all day. It's like, how are you going to tell me, anyway. So then this was really, I just found this recently and I was so excited, and I told my friend who had come with me, there was a picture of him on there, and I had never seen this video before, and when I slowed it down and took shots of it, screenshots of it, it was so cool because she was signing my poster and I could not believe it. So I'm going to start with that here. So this is her signing my poster that you see in the background here, and I think it starts here, is where I'm talking to her. And this was on something called On the Red Carpet, which I was not. But that is me. And that's probably him listening to me, waiting to be like, lady. No. And Steve's very kindly listening to me and starting to sign. I don't forget what order I put it in. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought it was so cool that you could clearly see that that's my name there. And that was my poster that she was signing in this little video. It's dumb because I have it here. Clearly she did it, but it was just exciting to me to find it. I just found these about 2-3 weeks ago. So I thought that was pretty cool. But then this was the great part. This was my picture with Stevie. I'm very bummed out that she had glasses on. You know, I'm just saying. I'm very bummed out that I have this face. And these were screenshots, blurry ones. I had some better ones. I don't know where they are. I had to redo this, and they were like second generation already. But this was, you know, screenshots people had taken for me and were sending me the night it happened, being on the news. How cool is that? And she's all smiling there. She is so cute. And then it's probably like, could you just shut up so I could sign your poster, please? So obviously this is, you know, I've told you guys about many things that mean a lot to me, but obviously, you know, this is a no-brainer how much this means to me. Let's see that there. This is not something I would have ever had signed. I'm not going to lie. I love it. I absolutely love it. But, you know, you guys have seen a lot of my collection and such, and you can imagine, you know, how many things I would have really liked to have had signed. It is what it is. You can buy stuff. I prefer not to. I have some of those other great things that are signed. You know, I have that beautiful art print that my ex-husband got me, and you know, so it's fine. This has my name on it. This is a moment. You know, I found this. I mean, how cool is that? Tell me that's cool. And you know, but like I said, like if I had gone to meet her and this poster had been out, this is not something I would have taken to get signed. So that was a little bit disappointing. But you know, it's not even about beggars can't be choosers. I made this happen. I made it down to, you know, I was gonna have this happen. I was gonna make this happen. Whether I had my friend with me, whether I had to, again, start walking, get a bus. I was gonna do this. There was no way I could miss this opportunity. And quite frankly, prior to this and after this, there hasn't been any. She did another signing in San Diego. I want to say in Los Angeles, possibly. I think it was two other, or maybe it was in East Coast and then Southern California. But yeah, that was and like San Diego maybe. And anyway, yeah, there was a couple more, but that's it. That's the only time I've ever known Stevie to do a signing. I know that a couple times Fleetwood Mac had done a signing, and I want to say it was around Behind the Mask, but I don't think she was there for them. Could be wrong. Seems like I'm right though. Seems like she was sick or something that happened on a particular one, like at a Tower Records or something like that. So, and I would have missed that one anyway as well. I mean, it was before I knew better to go, you know, that what people do that, you know. So yeah, so that is my story, and that's really the highlights of it. My friend helped me pay the ticket. You know, I think he paid for all of it. He was a total prince about that. I'm so grateful that he got to. Again, like I said, if I had met her in that time that early, I would have just been. I couldn't believe it. And now hopefully he has all the time in the world to meet her again because he's much younger. You know, and is still able to go see her all the time. But, you know, for me, I'm probably figuring that's the only time I'll ever meet her in my life. I would love for another time. I would love for her. I would really only want to meet Stevie again. Duh. I mean, obviously I would like to meet her again, but really to just let her know about all this. Not in any weird way, like, you know, but there are a couple of things that would be cool to know the stories of. And, you know, some people that I don't know much about, if she could, you know, elaborate or something like that. It would just be really cool to, again, let her know that this collection is for her, but it's not just about her. It's about everything I bring up in the video. It's about the family of Fleetwood Mac. It's about the, you know, the other photographers, the engineers, the managers, the fans, and stuff like that. And just for me, it's just a whole collective. And I think that it would be really cool for Stevie to also think of it that way. Because I think when she sees people, you know, who are her photographers and they have her pictures, I mean, they're fans probably, right? But like, you know, well, so what? They just did her picture. Or, you know, people who have scrapbooks and stuff like that, like I do, but it's just like for a certain amount of time. I mean, this is just really the length of time. And you know, 100 other people do it. I'm not the only one. But, you know, it would just be cool to talk to her about that. And that would be like the highlight of my life. It would just, this already was. But, you know, if I could have one more miracle, that would be pretty cool. So that is everything. I hope I didn't drone on too much, and I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry I made it 3 parts, but I really didn't want to make it so long again because I was reading a lot and not showing pictures. But it was from the time, so I thought it was kind of cool to, so often I'm like, and I'm not sure about that, but here were some notes that I had and such. And so, I thought you'd kind of like to hear it. And I'm actually pretty much accurate on this point. So that's rare. So thank you so much for joining me. I don't know where I'm going to go with the next video or two. I have a couple things that are, I still have a little in your dreams, articles and some pictures and stuff like that. And then I forgot that I had a Lindsay date I went to again. So I might do that. So stay tuned. Always be something. And then we'll get into the first Fleetwood Mac reunion in 2013. And then obviously the 14 with Christine back. So still more to come. Thank you so much for joining me, and everybody have a great night. Bye.